So these are the measurements we're going to be needing for this tutorial. We're going to need our bicep circumference, and mine is 14 inches. We're going to be needing our shoulder to elbow measurement, our elbow circumference, our sleeve length, and our wrist circumference. So yeah, I already have my pattern paper, and I'm going to place my pattern paper on fold. So I'll mark a horizontal line at the top, and that is going to be my top line. Then from the top line, I'm going to be marking my shoulder to elbow measurement, and mine is about 13 inches. So from the top line again, I'm going to be marking my sleeve length, and I'm going to be using my shoulder to wrist measurement as my sleeve length. So I've marked out all my lines, and this is going to be my elbow line, and this is going to be my wrist line. So next we're going to be getting our cap height, and to get our cap height we're just going to be using a formula, and the formula we're going to be using for our cap height is our bust circumference divided by 12 plus 1 inch for ease. So this 1 inch is going to be for ease. So when you make that calculation, you're just going to mark your result from your top line, and this is going to be my bicep line. So you get your bodice block now, so you're just going to pay attention to this. So whatever formula you use to get your armhole depth, that's your armhole depth line, whatever formula you use to get your armhole depth, that's the formula you are going to be using. You don't have to use my formula, you have to use the formula you use for your bodice block. So if you are following my own bodice block, the formula I used was bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So my round bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So you have to use your formula or whatever formula you use, just so that you can get a proper fitting sleeve, that so that you will not have any excess in your sleeve. So after making my calculation, I'm just going to be marking whatever result I got on my bicep line. Then after marking that result, I'm just going to take my ruler now and rule this to my top line. So what I want to do now is I want to confirm this line. So I'm going to bring my bodice block again, and what I want you guys to do is I want you to measure your armhole. So I want you to measure your armhole. So I measured my armhole now, and I got about 9.1 inches. So at that 9.1 inches, I'm going to make sure this line is 9.1 inches. So I'm going to measure out the line now, and I have 8.1 inches here. So the reason why mine is not up to it is because when I was drafting the blazer, I remember that I added 1 inch of ease, because I remember I said that I wanted the blazer to not be tight fitting. So I remember that I added 1 inch of ease on my armhole line, so that is why it's giving me a bigger armhole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that 1 inch back to my sleeve. So I'm going to add 1 inch of ease to my sleeve. So I marked 1 inch, so I added 1 inch to my bicep line. So I added 1 inch now, and I'm going to be ruling that line back to my top line. So I'll take my ruler now and I'll rule that line to my top line. Okay, so I'm going to measure this out again, and I have 9.1 inches, so it is perfect now. So next we're going to be finding the midpoint of that line. So you find the midpoint of that line, and you're going to get your French curve, connect the points together like this. You can see the way I'm placing my French curve. That's just how you are going to be connecting yours. So you connect the point to your top line, then place your French curve like this again, and connect the points together like so. So this is going to be our back. So on our elbow line, you're going to mark your elbow circumference divided by 2. So you can add ease if you want, but I'm not going to be adding ease. Then on your wrist line, you're going to mark your wrist circumference divided by 2. So you just connect the points together like so and open your pattern up. So this is going to be the back of my sleeve, so you must always note where your front and your back is. Then you're just going to take your ruler now, and I'm going to outline all the lines together, sorry, all the lines at the other part of the paper. So after doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be placing my measurements on this right side of the paper. So I'm just going to measure what I have on my elbow line, on my wrist line, and on my bicep line, and place it at the other end of the paper. So now next step is to now this is what we have, and the other side is going to serve as our front. So the next step is to find the midpoint. So I found the midpoint, and this is going to be the front of my sleeve. So from this midpoint, I'm going to go down by 0.5 inches because that is what I used on my front bodice block. I went in by 0.5 inches at the armhole. So I'm just going to get my French curve now, and I'm going to connect. So now we're going to be folding this paper into 4 places. So I folded it into 2 at first, and what you're going to do is you're going to go to your wrist now, and this part you're just going to fold it to this other end here. So I folded it, and this is going to help me get the midpoint. So I want the lines to show, so I'm just going to fold it and show you guys how it's going to look, or what I'm trying to do. So you can see these faded lines here. So those are the lines I was trying to get. So I'm just going to use my marker pen and try to make it visible so that you guys can be able to see it. So this is what we have now, and what we want to do now is we want to add a dart. So you're just going to go to your back side of the sleeve. So the back of the sleeve, at that red line there, I'm going to be marking 0.5 inches on both sides of the line, and this is going to serve as the dart on my sleeve. So after marking 0.5 inches on both sides, I'm just going to get my ruler now and connect. So the reason for doing this is because we want to make a 2-piece sleeve, and the reason for a 2-piece sleeve for our blazer is so that you can give it a easy movement. So what we want to do now is we want to return that to our sleeve. So what you're just going to do is at the other end of the sleeve, you're going to mark 0.5 inches here and 0.5 inches at the other end. So what we're doing here is we're returning the dart. So you just get a ruler now and connect the points back to your elbow line. So the reason for doing this, like I said, is for easy movement of your elbow in your blazers. So that's the reason for making a 2-piece sleeve for our blazers. So this is it, guys. So right now I'm not going to be cutting it, but in the sewing tutorial I will definitely cut it and show you guys how to sew it. But I'm just going to show you guys how you're going to cut it if you want to cut it. So you see this line, you're just going to follow this line here and cut till you get to the top. Then you go towards the other side, cut till you get to the top, and this is going to give you 2-piece of sleeve. So guys, that's it for this tutorial. So now that we're done drafting the blazers, we're also done drafting the sleeve. So next up, we're going to be sewing the blazers, and I'm going to show you guys how to attach the 2-piece sleeve. So I'm going to see you guys in the sewing tutorial. Thanks for watching.